Okay, where do I start? It's gonna be tough. Well, I guess we can start here. It has nothing to do with the video. I already know most of the comments are gonna be about this here. It's kind of odd every time I wear something like Cowboys related that like seems to bog up the comments because for whatever reason every single team of like teams that even Dallas Cowboys fans don't even care about hate the Cowboys. So it's always interesting. That's why they call it America's team. Nonetheless, I'm a little late on the news. Been very, very busy. I feel like I'm saying that for every new video that I do, but I'm very busy, very, very busy. Captain Marvel 2, of course, is in the works, which that's not necessarily news. We kind of saw that coming. But what we're getting is some news here about them trying to pull in the WandaVision writer. And I know, as they confirmed here, this is the Hollywood Reporter, where I'm getting this from. They say that with their sources, they're looking for a female director or filmmaker or what have you. The previous one is no longer part of it. So Anna Bolden, they co-wrote and directed the film. Anna Bolden and Ryan Fleck, and now they're hoping to find a female filmmaker for Captain Marvel 2. So the angle that I want to take it with this is that this embodies really everything that's wrong with the concept of diversity in terms of how people advocate it. Now, I've done a million videos, talked about how diversity is just it's a side effect. It's not a positive or negative thing. It's just a thing that happens in any given human affair. It may have more or less, a lot. Diversity just depends, but in itself, it's not anything admirable. It's not anything that is of merit as just because you have a bunch of different people or something that's aside from the norm of what you, in terms of what you see, does not make that mean that is inherently good. Doesn't mean that it's inherently bad either. But what they're trying to do with Captain Marvel, as far as this, and maybe it's less about diversity and more of this identity thing. I'm not opposed, and I want to be very, very clear. I'm not opposed to them, Marvel, seeking out a female, or not. No, let me backtrack. I'm not opposed to them having a female director. There's nothing wrong with that. The issue here is that they are going out of their way to find a female filmmaker. That's what they're looking for. So, granted, the first movie, yes, it made all of this money, which, I've talked about this. I called it out. I said it was going to be $1 billion film. There was no way that it was going to fail. It could not fail considering its placement and its unique shoehorn. I have a 30-minute video if everybody wants to watch that. Its success in terms of the box office has nothing to do with whether or not the movie was good, and everything to do with the fact that the movie where it was placed and what it was supposed to embody. It was not like Ant-Man. It was not a situation that just because it was between it was supposed to see success. It was that they hyped it up, that this character was the very important, most powerful character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is quoted by Kevin Feige. So it was supposed to be this big deal, and you had to find out about this character in order to see what was going on in terms of what was going to happen with Endgame. And then it was a bait and switch because she just shows up at the end of Endgame and the beginning of Endgame, and that's it. She has no bearing. Her existence has no bearing on the actual outcome of the film. So it was a bomb, and I mean that in a bad sense, in terms of the just design of the actual movie. So you, and maybe the $1 billion sort of got them into thinking that this was something that was attributed to the fact that, I don't know, maybe Anna was a female. So they want that, they want to replicate that and what have you. But if it doesn't have the placement that it has, it's not going to do nearly as well as that first one. No matter who they get to do it. But my thing is when we talk about these concepts, they're stringing on to the idea of the director, not the actors and stuff like that, or the actresses, the directors, right? they want them, or the filmmakers, to be female. Now, if that isn't a dead giveaway as to what the whole direction was and what Captain Marvel was supposed to represent, no matter how many people got mad at me because I called it out, that's what it was. It was supposed to be this hyper like feminism, hyper, you know, I'm a woman, hear me roar concept. That was the point of the movie. It was less about anything else. It was just, that was the whole idea. And this will be the reason that it was so protected. I said, this is the most, in recent history, I can't remember a movie that was ever this protected. When you have a site that's supposed to be as credited as Rotten Tomatoes change their entire website. They changed their entire website just to protect this film. That tells you how much power was put into it, how much stake, or stock rather, that they have in this film. So they needed it to be successful. And they were going to do and pull all stops in order to make sure that happened. But the learning thing that we can get, I guess, from this, if anything, is that, look, they are taking steps in the wrong direction, because that does not ensure that your movie is going to be made, because that's a neutral role, right? As a director or filmmaker, from the identity element, right? As in that you could get a male, you can get a female, or what have you, black, white, doesn't really matter. And as long as they have that talent, they can do that. They can be the filmmaker, right? It's completely irrelevant to the position. But they feel like they want a female. So they have completely just removed an entire identity of people. An identity that they control, they're born that way. But you're saying that you are choosing then not necessarily based on merit or skill set. Can you capture the theme that we're trying to portray here? That does not mean that this movie is going to be better just because you threw a female in there. You had a female involved in the first one and it sucked. But it does show the obsession with people. It's like with a position like that. And I'm not saying that, and I would, again, being very clear, I'm not saying that there may be a woman, or there may not be a woman. I'm not saying that there isn't a woman that would fill that role and would knock it out the park. That's not what I'm saying at all, because I'm pretty sure there are. What I'm saying is that let them compete with the men. Remember, I thought you guys were all about diversity and equality. Let them compete. If you're about equality, let them compete. Pick the best man or woman, and there you have it. But to just say, all right, we're going to X all y'all out, we just want females. Okay, so you may have a male on the opposite side, and vice versa. If it was another film that was doesn't matter in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they said, hey, we don't want a female to do it, then that's in itself, again, you're Xing out. Now again, that doesn't mean that the female will get the gig. That doesn't mean that the male will get the gig. I'm just saying let them compete amongst each other. It's a position, that particular position, though not like everything else. Because yes, with a certain actor and actress, you got to get a male, you got to get a female to play the male or female actress or actor. I get that. But not with the filmmaker, because there's nothing there. That's neutral. Doesn't matter. But they're going the route that, will set this up for failure. And this is the problem with the obsession with people's identity. Because they are on that. Like, they're trying to make a political or more so social political statement as opposed to just making a good movie. And that's the problem. And then when they put it in your face, they tell you this is what we're trying to do. I said, and people act like, oh, this guy's mad, incel, he hates women, like, misogynist. Like, all I'm doing is relaying what just breaking it down, relaying the message. This is what they're telling you. They don't want the women to compete with the men in that position. They're thinking you're inferior, because why other reason would you X them out? That's all I'm saying. So This movie, we'll see if it's going to be an epic disaster like the first one. We'll see.